Press record. And a 3, and a 2, and a 1. Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 128 for Tuesday, the 12th of July, 2022. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamertag PearsonID, Steam ID, Webby360G, and joining me on this very fine evening is...
Sweaty Switch.
Hello, Sweaty Switch. It's just us two again. Oh, I think it's just that hot weather. Everyone's busy doing things. I spoke to Alex earlier today. He's been at the beach all day and he's currently travelling home. I don't blame him. It's been a scorching weekend.
Probably fighting, like you were saying, like feeling lethargic as well after soaking that sun up all day.
Yeah, and probably fighting his way through the traffic as well. So, as one does. It's really odd, right? Because I started a new job this week. I've always worked shifts. I'm late 30s now. Never had a normal job in my life.
Like a 9 to 5.
Yeah, and now I started working 9 to 5 from Monday just gone. And I tell you what, the weekend's just disappeared. I'm back at work tomorrow, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm so used to having 4 or 5 days off at a time because I'm used to shifts. It's just gone like so fast, man. It's crazy.
But also where you used to shifts, you used to do more hours as well, so...
Yeah, well, it's weird because I've gone...
The days don't seem to last anywhere near as long.
Yeah, true, because my contract's gone from a 40-hour week, on average, because of my shifts, and it's now a 37.5-hour week. So, yeah. So I'm doing less hours, getting paid the same, but I'm not getting as many days off. It's really weird. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see if I can get used to it, but only having 2 days off is a bit odd, but I'm enjoying not getting up so early in the morning, and it's nice to have an evening as well, so...
Yeah, that's it. The thing with having the 2 days off weekend is you want to try and do at least something really good on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Because the Sunday you've got to have that's usually the day we think, oh no, I've just got to have a chill day because I'm back at work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you have that obviously looming.
That's it, mate. Yeah, well, it's been nice though because I've had the kids in the garden all weekend. I didn't go out anywhere at all actually because it's just the weather was so nice. Paddling pool in the garden for the kids, so they've been out playing in the garden. It's been a really busy F1 weekend because of the qualifying Friday, sprint Saturday, and the race today. So that's taken up a few hours each day as well, which has been quite nice. I've enjoyed the banter in the Discord with Venom. It's been good fun. And then obviously playing some games when I get time as well. So, yeah, back at work tomorrow. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Let's get into it, shall we, Darren? So let's get into the games we've been playing. Shall I say one of my games first? Because you probably played less than me.
Yeah, just go first. Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, I haven't actually played... Okay, so I've played a few different games. But I haven't played a lot of... I haven't put many hours into the games, if that makes sense. I've played a little of a lot. Yeah. So, so that's what I've been doing. So, getting to the first game I've been playing, which is been F1 2022. Been playing that hell of a lot.
You picked it up then?
Yeah, so picked that up on PC because it was really cheap on CD keys. It was like £34 when I picked it up on CD keys. So I've noticed the price has gone up now since I bought it because I actually pre-ordered it, and they're usually a little bit cheaper on there if you pre-order it before you buy it, before it comes out. Sorry. So, but obviously you had the 10-hour trial, so because of Game Pass. So I've actually been playing it a lot on PC this week, but I've also played a little bit of it on my Xbox with the 10-hour trial just to get some Chivos, which has been quite cool. So first thing I want to say is I've started doing it in co-op with Frosty, and that was actually, it works really, really well. So basically the way the co-op works in F1 2022 is you've got a couple of options. So the first one is you can both race for the same team, so you're just teammates, but obviously you're still racing against each other for the championship. And the other option is to just have 2 players and you can race for any team. You obviously are still playing together, but you're both on different teams, which I think is quite a cool way of doing it as well, to be honest. But myself and Frosty decided to start on the same team, so we've booted off Perez and Verstappen are out of Red Bull, and we're racing for Red Bull. We've knocked them down to AlphaTauri, and yeah, it was really good. So we've decided the way that we're going to work it is to do one race a week, because it actually is quite time consuming, because you've got your practice sessions and then you've got your qualifying and then you've got your race. And the way that we're playing it is the half length of a race. So, so a race in itself takes about 45 minutes ish just for the race. So if you think you've got that, and then your practice sessions, I mean, we just do the quick practices. We just skip them. We might do one of them to get used to the track, but then we skip the rest. And then obviously you do your qualifying, which is, it's like 15 minutes or something. So yeah, it's a couple of hours. So a couple of hours a week, one race a week, is going to work quite well, I feel, doing that. So that's quite good, because I did actually try playing a full race. It's just too long, man. Just way too long for me, to be honest. So I think a half race is kind of perfect for a video game. So yeah, been doing that with Frosty, and we really enjoyed that. I won the race because I'm the best, and then Frosty was down the table a little bit because he spun out. But it was a really good laugh. It really was. So yeah, we'll be doing some more of that. Also been playing some of the single player campaign, which I'm really enjoying, which is very similar. But it's quite interesting because you get into the game. It's the same on the multiplayer as well. On the co-op, you do a race and you get so if you do all your practices as well, you get points that go towards the development of your car. So you put them towards better powertrains, better aerodynamics and stuff like that. So you actually improve your car as you're going through the season, which is pretty cool. And then the multiplayer, I've been doing some of the multiplayer online as well with randoms, and some of the races have been hilarious because when you get into a race, the damage is fully on. Well, the races I've played as well. I mean, I've not hosted one, so I don't actually know the options that you can turn on or off, but the ones I've joined have all had the damage on. So it's quite interesting because, on the first corner, you get at least 3 or 4 people crashing out and then and they usually quit out or limp back to the pits. So I usually just kind of hang back a little bit, and I always manage to finish. Well, so far I've managed to finish the races. I've not become particularly high placed, maybe in the bottom 10, you know what I mean? But still a lot to learn on that game, to be honest. I am really enjoying it, but they do a weekly challenge. So every weekend that there's a Grand Prix, they do the race, the track that that the real Grand Prix is on. So they did the Red Bull Ring this weekend, and I spent ages trying to practice it and getting my laptop times down. And it's actually quite, it does get quite difficult just to get those times down a little bit, because you've got to really take those corners really well. And it's a lot. I spent so much time just trying to learn it, and I still haven't quite perfected it yet. But they give you a global ranking on your qualifying times, and you see the other people's times. You think, fucking hell, how did you get a time that good? And then you get a time. So yesterday and today they were doing a race every 2 hours. So you join one of those races, and then whatever place you finish on, you get X amount of points. That goes on a leaderboard, and then you get EA tokens, whatever the fuck they are, depending on your pointage, what percent you're in. Like the top 20% get a certain amount, top 50% get a certain amount, and so forth. So I think that's quite a cool way of doing it, to be honest. But the only thing I don't like about the game, I mean, I'm loving the game, I think it's great, but it's just, some of it seems a little bit pointless. Like I mentioned last week, like this F1 Life bullshit where they want you to spend money on buying caps and t-shirts for your avatar just sitting in a house on the loading screen, on the main menu.
Yeah, I remember
sorry,
you talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can buy like extra liveries for your car, like, so you have your own car when you're playing a multiplayer. So I mean, I have seen that in some of the races you get a choice to play as an actual team, but in most of them you just play as your personal car, and they all just look the same because no one's spending money buying all the extra paint jobs and stuff, which is quite funny. So that's quite interesting. Oh, and when I started it on the Xbox, I didn't start a campaign as a driver for a team. I started my own team, which is quite cool. So there's a little bit more extra to that. So you own the team and your driver. So you set up all the colours, your livery, for your outfits and your cars and all that sort of stuff. Your logo, which is quite cool. And then you have to get sponsors on your car, and they all have different things that they want you to achieve for bonuses, like qualify in the top 3 in X amount of races or something like that for extra bonuses. So you've got those extra things to think about, and I think it's actually quite cool. Oh, and the other thing which is cool, you get to choose your co-driver, well, your partner, your teammate, and you get to choose out of it's like Jensen Button, Ayrton Senna, and who's the other one? There was another one. All three. Oh, Michael Schumacher. So I chose Jensen, obviously, because he's British. But
I'd be worried if I was Button, because the others are out of commission.
Yeah, but that's why, because they're classics, so you bring the characters back, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's quite a cool little feature, actually, to be honest. So yeah, I'm enjoying the game. It's a lot of fun. It's just very I don't know. It does get quite tricky because I'm playing it with a a steering wheel and pedals. So it's just trying to nail it down. It's just quite difficult. It's a lot of practice, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's been my main game this week, to be honest, and it's just been nice to play it in some co-op with Frosty as well. So just looking forward to cross-play being activated, so we can jump on with a few other people who've picked up on other platforms and get some multiplayer sessions going.
Yes.
So yeah. So what about you, Darren?
Main one this week, I'd say, would probably be Vermintide 2.
Oh, you're still cracking on with that. Have you played any of it with other people, or have you just been playing it?
No, I've just been going through solo and bot. It's like, because you can do it, obviously, there's like 4 or 5 difficulties, or is it 4?
I don't know.
I know there's quite a lot.
I don't know.
And obviously, the harder it gets, the more you want other people with it, and you want to do it on the harder difficulties to obviously get the loot. I'm just sort of like trying to go through each of the levels on their own.
Oh, okay.
With bots.
And how are the bots in it?
They're reasonably okay. They don't set off stupid traps or sort of like start attacking enemies like before you do.
Oh, okay.
Things like that. You can order them to pick up certain objects, because obviously each of the levels has got the tomes that you find, and you can only carry 1 per person. And obviously, if you're not communicating with other people, there's got to be a way of getting the bots to pick up the tomes and stuff.
Right. Okay.
To give you the bonuses at the end of the map.
Right.
Or the end of the level, like bonus XP and stuff to level up. I'm still only about level 13, and I'm almost halfway through the second lot of levels.
Oh, right, okay.
Because there's like 4 levels on the first one, and a few on the 4 on the second, I think 4 on the third, and 1 on the last.
Yeah, it's a shame this game didn't become more popular in the community, really, because it's meant to be a really good co-op experience,
I think a lot of people did play it, but it is an old game.
Yeah, it's about 4 years old now, isn't it?
4 years old, yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly melee as well, isn't it? You don't really get a lot of ranged weapons, if I remember
no,
rightly.
it depends which character you're playing as.
Right,
I mean,
okay.
I've been playing as the elf, and obviously she's got a bow.
Right.
Which is useful for obviously taking out like armoured enemies and sort of like annoying enemies like the specials when they spawn.
Right, oh, okay,
like the gasser or things like that.
Oh, nice.
And every time you kill a special, they drop like a little ammo pouch near where you are, so you can just quickly fill your ammo back up. Because you don't actually get a lot depending on the character you're using.
Right, oh, okay. Ah, makes sense.
Because she's got the bow and arrow, then like the pilgrim kind of guy's got like a couple of pistols, like flintlock kind of things.
Yeah.
But he only gets about 19 shots.
Yeah,
whereas with her, I'm getting about sort of 45, 50. But again, it also depends on the bows you've got selected and such as well. Because different bows do you've got piercing damage and like damage over time.
Right, okay.
and I've come to realise damage over time is reasonably okay, and it can infect more than the one target you're firing at. But I'd rather things just went straight down than actually just sort of like still charging at me
Right. Okay.
while
No.
they're taking like tick damage, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, the loot system's pretty cool. I mean, the more you play the game, the better loot you sort of pick up, and as you're leveling up, you level up like the sort of rarities and stuff that you can acquire.
Right. Oh, okay.
So that means that you're not always going to be picking up like complete shite from the low missions, as long as you're sort of completing a few of the objectives and bonuses and stuff, and leveling your crate up, and your character's power level's high enough.
Right.
It starts to drop higher power stuff, which is why the higher difficulty levels come into play later on. But people obviously know that who have played it.
Yeah, it's one of those games, as I mentioned last week, that I would have really liked to have gotten into, but I picked it up on Steam, and literally no one I know picked it up. So it's kind of one of those multiplayer games that I purchased.
I mean, there's a couple of levels there's a couple of levels that fall into the old. Oh god, it's this type of level, is it? So one of the levels I did was where it's basically pitch black.
Yeah.
And you're pushing a minecart through the level with like a light attached to it.
Oh, right, okay.
To illuminate the area. So that's kind of annoying, because you do get the horde bundles seem to be a lot more frequent in this than they do in your like Left 4 Deads and Back 4 Bloods and stuff.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
How annoying.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. The Death Watch or whatever it is, it's out later this year.
Death Watch.
I think that's going to be pretty
Oh,
interesting.
you mentioned that
Warhammer
last week.
Death Watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I did. But I was looking into it. I probably did mention it last week, but I didn't realise you can customise each of the classes for Death Watch. You couldn't, obviously, in Vermintide, you play as a specific character.
Is this a new one? Because I've found videos from like 4 years ago on here.
Yes, it was kind of announced early, and then I think COVID pushed it back about a year and a bit, possibly, because it was announced reasonably reasonably then, around that sort of 4-year period back.
Right. Okay.
I think Game Awards might have been one of the first times, but yeah, it's obviously going to be. You can select and customise your character. So you choose a class, then you can customise them with various faces, hairstyles, or whatnot, and choose personalities. Out of set personalities and stuff. Okay. But it looks like a lot more hectic.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it's been like a good 4 years since then, so you'd expect as a developer they're slowly growing their field as it was.
Yeah.
They did the first one, Vermintide 2. People who played those games always liked them.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that ever played those kind of games, which is kind of the thing with the Warhammer. It's got its fan base, like a lot of their games. But then they never actually are ever shit games.
No, they're normally pretty decent. Yeah, I remember playing, was it Death Hulk or Space Hulk? One of the space ones anyway, and that was really good.
Space Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a Deathwing, wasn't there? Or was that the one I talked about earlier?
I can't remember the name of it now. It'll come to me in a bit. But talking about games of a similar ilk, though, Darren, I went back to Back 4 Blood this week.
Oh yeah, I saw that in a message, I think, in the chat, or someone did. Was it Peeps or yourself?
It was me. Well, I was messaging because Peeps mentioned that he went back to it and he finished it with randoms in the end. Because remember, like myself, Peeps, and Stunty, and there was a fourth person who kept on coming in every so often on a random. We had a couple of different fourths every so often, but we got to the last level and we couldn't get it because it was just Dougster. It was Dougster, I think. Yeah.
I played with him one of the times I played with you guys.
Yeah, and I just remember we could not get past that last level because the difficulty, if you remember, Back 4 Blood was quite difficult even on the easiest setting anyway.
Oh, it was absolutely stupid.
Yeah, so I went on to it.
Stupid.
Oh, well, it was only about 2 or 3 days ago actually, and I thought I want to do this last level. I'm going to re-download it and try and give it a go. So I downloaded it, and I went on and I loaded up the I did a search for a multiplayer game on the last level. When bearing in mind this game is cross-play across all systems, found no one. this game is probably dead, to be honest. So it loaded me into the last level with just the free AI, and I was thinking, I wonder how this is gonna go. You know what I mean? But I thought I'm gonna give it a go anyway because I want to just finish the game and get it out of the way. And it was so easy. It was unbelievable. They must have done a massive update at some point and just made the game a piece of piss. Like literally,
I'll have to try it just to
yeah.
see like what they have
Because
actually done with
because you
it.
know that on the last level you have the three things that come out the floor and they spit the acid on you. Then you have the waves of enemies coming at you after you just destroy each one of those tentacle things. Well,
No, because I literally got stuck on that game about a level or two before that, where you're running through the one where you got to run through the medical camps, and you've got to
yeah.
go through those iron gates,
Oh,
and all the
so
zombies you
hard.
kill drop acid all over the
Yeah,
floor, so
yeah.
you're constantly taking that. It is
So
I've been
hard.
stuck there for hours, like
Well,
back in the day, and just gave up.
anyway, so this might be spoilers for the last level, but yeah. So that section there, because it's in 3 sections of the last level, really. So that first section, I remember it being a pain in the ass. Me and the AI companions just blasted through it so easy. Like literally, I got through that section and I hadn't even lost a quarter of my health at all. And usually by then I'd at least used the health kit. So I was like, oh, this is going really well. So then, so for those of you that know, you drop down a hole and then there's like a big boss in the middle of the room and waves of enemies coming at you. And I was thinking, oh, I wonder how this is going to go, because sometimes we would just drop down the hole to the underground and we'd die as soon as we get down there because there'd just be so many enemies. There was a few enemies in there, and there was a bit where you have to shoot them in the mouth, and I just blasted through it. It took me about 5 minutes, if that, just to defeat that part of the
Wow.
enemy. Yeah, literally, and I was like, I've probably gone down to about half health by then, so I used a med kit, and I'm thinking, right, I've got another med kit. If I need to use it, awesome. So, so there's another section where the beast is kind of running away. It's ginormous, and you've got to shoot different spots on it and go through this area. Yeah, it's timed. I was thinking, oh fucking hell, I hate time limits in games, especially on bosses. But
Do you
again,
remember the classic time limit on on the boat? Is it
oh,
RE4 where you got to escape the island at the end?
vaguely remember it. I was thinking you were going to bring up Left 4 Dead, where you have the time limit for everyone to get on like the boat at the end of a level or something.
Oh right, yeah.
But
They've done it
anyway,
on quite a few.
yeah. So the final part of the boss again, like you have to. So he's kind of like trying to run away, and there's like specific spots on him you got to shoot to destroy him. And again, you have waves of enemies coming at you, but I hardly really got hit that much. The zombies dropped really quick and defeated him and got to the end credits. And I was thinking, fuck me, they've really nubbed it down now, because it was so hard before, and now it's just a cakewalk. It really, really is. But I think they've just taken a bit too long to patch it, to be honest, because I do think the game is dead, because as I say, I was trying to matchmake, and it just wasn't finding anyone, and it was in kind of prime time, early evening time as well, so
Yeah, this is the thing. Like there are, like we all said, that the game was good. It was well received at the start. There was a ton of people playing it. It was on Game Pass, which is obviously gonna
yeah.
bring in a huge amount of people.
Hmm.
But like so many people just ran into brick walls with the game,
Yeah,
with the sort of like the random spawning AI system that they've got in it.
yeah,
It just never seemed to let up.
yeah. I know,
And
mate.
they obviously never managed to balance it, and through that you're going to lose a ton of players. People are just going to drop off and play something else, and this, like we say, every game nowadays, it's not really pick it up, play it, put it down. I mean, I still pick up a few like that, like fighting games, etc., but majority of games, they're huge time sinks. Like they want
Yeah.
you to sink loads of time in. It's like the more time you put in, the better you're gonna get. Like obviously that makes sense and it's true to all games, but
Mm.
there's ones that incentivize you put in like 30, 40, 50, 60 hours in. Like even for
Yeah, I know. I mean, it is a shame because when Back for Blood first came out, I was really loving playing it in co-op with Peebs and Stunty and Dougie. You know, it was really good
Yeah,
fun.
I remember playing in full games with people.
Yeah.
It made me laugh in my head a bit. I know it was cruel because it was you that got shifted out because you arranged everyone to do a
Yeah.
Back for Blood night, and then we all come on and you got on, and it's like, let's go, and it's like we're all in the game, mate.
Yeah, I
You
think
was
I
like,
child.
fuck you then, I'm gonna go and watch something on telly. I think you said like.
Yeah, I know. The joys of
Yeah, it
children,
makes
mate.
a change from having that. Because I remember that regularly back in the day, people coming in and being like, "Oh, sorry, mate, we ain't got enough room. We've
Yeah,
already got a full house," kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah, yeah. Very rarely happens these days, but um, you know,
Yeah.
I do think if you got a group of people together and went through Back for Blood again now, it'd still be an enjoyable experience and be a lot more
It
enjoyable than
always
what it
was
was.
enjoyable,
Yeah,
and like everything about the gameplay and everything was great and fun, and it was all there from Left 4 Dead. It was just those irritating frustrations
yeah, yeah. 100%
where
agree with you.
you would go into certain levels, and depending on how the game felt, it was like you can go through this or you ain't going nowhere, mate.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a shame because the thing is, like gaming moves so fast these days, you know, and if your game isn't sorted
Tripped
within
over
yeah, if it
at the
is,
starting block a bit.
yeah, then people just kind of forget about it and move on, right? And even if you fix your game, people have moved on and and they're not willing to go back to it. I mean, I would love to do another run through with some people in co-op on this, but I know that people just wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Because they've
There
moved
are
on.
games I'd say that buck the trend, though. I think No
Yeah,
Man's Sky is a bit of a cool
yeah, yeah,
story in the fact that
yeah.
they never gave up on it, and that game is completely different now. It's basically the game they always sort of kind of promised it was going to be, and people are still playing that.
Yeah. No,
So
yeah.
it can happen. It's just very rare. But as soon as people move off of your game and onto something else might get their hooks into them and be like, "No, you want to put your time over here."
Yeah, I think the problem is there's so many co-op games out there, right? But it's a strange one with this one because people have been crying out for another Left 4 Dead, and this really is Left 4 Dead 3 in all intensive purposes, and it's just it's very similar, you know, to be fair, and the levels are great in that, but it's just that one issue with the difficulty just put people off. They've uninstalled it, and if you don't know that they've sorted these things out, then you're not going to go back to it anyway. So, you know,
It's good that they obviously carry on. I mean, there's been extra content in it since. I think there's like a possible roguelike sewer mode or something that they added, and a couple of extra characters and stuff. I
yeah,
think I saw they were adding new cards to the game as well.
yeah, and I think there's an expansion as
I
well
think.
coming with an extra level in that. But it's just a shame, man. It's just a shame. But I'm glad I went back to it and finished it off anyway. So, yeah,
Mm,
all good, baby,
yes.
all good. So, your next one, mate?
Just bits and pieces of DNF Duel here and there.
DNF Duel.
Yeah, we talked about it last week again.
Remind me
The
what it is.
2.5D fighting game
Oh
by Arc
yes.
System Works based on the Korean MMO.
Oh yeah, and how is that? How you enjoying it?
I'm still having fun with it. Its simplistic combat is different and interesting. Like I spoke about last week, it just basically uses two attack buttons for attack, and then you've got like an ability move set with one button, and then magic with the other. And depending on which direction you push with those and certain combinations, you can chain stuff together pretty easily with a lot of
Nice.
the characters and stuff. So it still seems to be good enough, like from what I've seen of the reception of the game from like the fighting game community, on Twitter, etc. It seems to have gone down reasonably well.
Yeah, that's good
Like
to
they
hear.
actually quite like that it plays slightly differently. Not every game has to be like a super technical,
Yeah.
sort of like
Yeah.
your Guilty Gear or something, or BlazBlue,
Yeah.
with like absolute frame precise data needed
Mm.
for certain things.
Yeah, it looks nice, man. Looks nice. Another fighting game to add to the
Yeah.
collection.
Actually, I'm playing it in Korean because I know it's developed by a Japanese company, but I've got a feeling that it's the Korean voices that actually sync up to the characters better.
Okay, that's fair dues, mate.
I'd imagine. Yeah, and obviously I don't get to play many games in Korean, so why not?
Yeah, might as well, mate.
We've had Russian, French, it was obviously Japanese,
Nice.
Chinese.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, well, what else you had then?
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, I've actually been getting into a little game. I'm just trying to find some decent gameplay. Yeah, so I've been playing a little game called The Cycle Frontier. I don't know if I mentioned it last week or not. I can't quite remember. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It's just weeks gone by so fast, I just can't.
Kind of rings a bell, but I might have just seen video footage of it
Yeah,
somewhere.
so I think I did because I mentioned it's very much like Tarkov, but it's set in space on an alien planet. So, just to give a very brief rundown, you start from the space station, you get certain missions to do, and you load up, with your weapons and your ammo. You've got to make sure the ammo fits the guns, but it's a lot more simplistic than Tarkov, where it's not the individual bullets, just get the clips, and it tells you if it's fitting the gun or not anyway. So that's quite good. But you go onto this planet, and you got to do missions like mining certain materials, or collecting certain materials, or killing certain monsters. But there's other players who've also been dropped onto the planet. So usually, if you come across them, they'll try and kill you. If you die, you lose all the gear you've got currently equipped, and the other player who's killed you can take it all. Which means you need to go and buy some more weapons and armor and shit like that as well, right? It is a free to play game, so there is some obviously those free to play aspects in the game where you can spend real money to buy a lot of the better stuff. However, I haven't spent any actual money in it yet. But I am really enjoying it. I really like the layout of the planet. It's very, very large. When you drop down, I think there is another section of the planet that you can go to, but it says it's hard. Like there's in brackets it says this is super hard. So I haven't been. I'll go to the Nub Nub area. Um, so I'm just trying to do missions for these free factions in the space station, and they'll give you different things to do, as I mentioned at the beginning. But it's quite intense because I've had situations where I've got all the stuff I need to complete these missions for these factions, and I'm like, right, I need to get off planet, and so each player has two different areas that they can go to on the map, where they can call an extract in. Not everyone's got the same place that they can go to. By the way, this is something I found out this week because I caught someone trying to escape this week from a place which wasn't on my map as a place I could extract. So as their ship was coming in, I was shooting at them, and there was a little bit of a firefight going on, and actually managed to kill them and nick their stuff, which was bloody hilarious. Um, but yeah, it gets quite intense because when you're calling in that ship, everyone can see it flying in from the sky and whereabouts it's landing, and then it takes a little bit of time for the ship to land, and then obviously when you get on it, it takes quite a bit of time for it to take off again. So you're very vulnerable when you're in that position, and and what makes it intense is you want to get off because you don't want to lose all the loot you've got, and you don't want to lose your weapons and your armor and stuff like that as well. So um, because you know that if you die you can lose stuff, and you have to go back and do that mission again and go and re-equip yourself and stuff, it just, that sense of foreboding is a lot more intense than if you weren't actually going to lose anything for real, if that makes sense. So you get a little bit of a sweaty palms in those situations, which I don't know, it makes it, that risk reward factor, just a lot more sweet. Like if you've done one mission, it's do I go around the map trying to get the materials or mining for the other mission as well, or now I've got the materials for the one mission, do I just try and get off world now and come back later? So you've got those aspects in the back of your mind when you're playing. Sound is quite important, so if you do play it, I'd recommend using a good pair of headphones and put them up quite high, because when you're walking around you can hear like the enemy player footsteps, so they can kind of. So if you're in a building and you hear footsteps, if you've got a good pair of cans on your head, you know which direction they're coming from. Yeah, so, but it can get, in certain areas it can be quite annoying because if these monsters start trying to attack you, you need to shoot them to kill them, and then if there's other human players in the area, they can hear your gunshot, so they're gonna maybe come to your area and try and attack you as well. I've had situations where I've been fighting some monsters, and then enemy players have appeared and have tried to take me out while I've been fighting the monsters as well. So it has got quite intense. I really, really like it. It's a really cool game. I mean, I do like Tarkov. I'm going to go back to Tarkov probably this week or next week because they've had a big reset, and so everyone's back to zero again. So I would already want to go back to that. But this is kind of a more user-friendly version, if that makes sense, because it gives you things that you don't get in Tarkov, like a map, tells you where to go, and it's a lot easier to equip yourself as well. So yeah, it's a really good fun game actually, and it's quite enjoyable just to go in for a good hour maybe, just to go in and do some bits and come out again. So yeah, it's a good game. I'm liking it. What about you, mate? Anything else?
Not really, apart
No?
from the things I usually play, like your Black Deserts, Final Fantasy 14s, etc.
Fair
I just
enough.
pop on and do the daily stuff. And
should we talk about the bit of
day.
news that hit this week about Final Fantasy 14? Because I think it's worth a little bit of a discussion point,
Yeah.
actually. I was laughing my head off when I saw all this news, actually.
It's just the typical 14 community, I guess.
Yeah, so, I mean, do you want to explain it? I mean, I've tried... It's just really odd, isn't it?
Basically, yeah, how it all started is there's a server generally on every MMO, which is pretty much known for like ERP, etc., which is erotic roleplay that people do.
Yeah.
And on the American server, that is Balmung. It's always been known for that since the early days of 14. You actually have like whorehouses in like the what are they called? Where your guild houses are.
Yeah. The housing area, yeah.
Yeah, the settlements or whatever it is. Yeah. So people will build like fake prostitute
Fucking bizarre.
places, etc. Yeah, and one of the guilds that's known for obviously all of that kind of thing took out like a billboard advertisement in America.
Oh, what?
For like some summer bash that's going on.
Right.
And they used obviously loads of the game images, and then they also had the actual Final Fantasy 14 proper logo, font and stuff on the billboard, which drew the ire from obviously Square Enix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's kind of their company or game, etc., being associated with something that's quite random. And loads of people started trying to jump onto that server to basically either give them a piece of their mind or whatnot.
Hasn't it?
And it ended up.
Sorry, it's only recently where people have been the world transfer system. Yeah.
So you had the you had the world transfer system, but it was only on the worlds on your data center.
That's right. Yeah.
At the moment, you've got like the EU data center, the Oceanic data server, and the US data server.
Yeah.
And each of those has got different worlds. Now you have the option with the latest update to completely go to one of the other countries' servers.
Yeah. Wow.
And have access to all of their worlds and stuff as well. Visit people there. So obviously a load of people were trying to clamour onto Balmung, but because it's obviously it's also one of the highest populated servers in the entire game. Like, it's whenever a server has an issue, usually during an expansion coming out, and players get stuck logging in for bloody ages, Balmung used to be like the worst hit for that.
Right, okay. This is interesting as fuck, man.
Yeah, so where all the loads of the people were like travelling over into Balmung. Apparently, according to this article and like the various photos, there was like a Catgirl army that was basically like keeping a playful gate watch near like where people were coming in to sort of like try and keep other
Can't you?
players
I
out.
mean, can't you walk through players though? I mean, I haven't played it in
You can,
ages.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, that is the point. It's like
yeah,
I say, it's like a part of just as it's like kind of a jokey thing
yeah,
and a role playing thing as well to a degree. But also by them all conglomerating in one area, you can make that area congested.
yeah.
And if you're trying to teleport into a congested area, it doesn't let you.
Right. Oh, okay.
Because I think it can handle about 250 odd players per area at once.
Okay.
Because usually when it's hits around that, do you remember when like you have a new expansion and in all the new zones there's like 3 different versions of that zone you
That's
can
right.
teleport to,
Yeah, yeah,
and then it'll tell you when you look on them how many people are in the zones.
yeah.
It tells like shows you the population, and usually if you try going into one that's like got 250 plus, that's when it starts saying congested, can't go.
Yeah. I
But
saw the
yeah,
story and I was just laughing my ass off because obviously I haven't played the game in months and months, and looking at resubscribing maybe towards the end of September because I've got a lot of stuff going on between now and September, so another couple of months. I don't really have the time to be investing in an MMO again at the minute, and when I get into Final Fantasy, it kind of takes over for a bit. But the game always seems to pop up in the news from time to time for some crazy stories, and this just made me laugh so much because I had no idea about the cross-world migrations or anything. So when I was reading about it, I was just like, can people walk through each other? I can't quite remember because I haven't played it for ages, and it's just one of those role-playing things. But yeah, I just think that's quite funny, man.
well, on the other funny news, players apparently weren't too happy in America of this FC doing this billboard advertisement,
Well, yeah, it seems a
and
bit of
obviously
an odd choice.
bringing a load of eyes on what goes on the server.
Yeah.
That like hundreds of players basically petitioned themselves around that FC house in like tanks and Magitech armors and were blasting the crap out of it.
Oh,
Like
seems
while the
pointless though.
FC members were all apparently inside.
Weird. That's so
Because someone's
bizarre,
like,
man.
yeah, we've got them all holed up in their house while we're out here, like with the pitchforks, kind of thing. But I thought you can't hold people up because they'll just teleport anywhere.
It's
They
just
can just
really weird
teleport
how
away.
MMOs get these odd communities just on a server. I mean, you go back to when World of Warcraft was super popular and all these weird stories would come out every now and again,
Oh, I've
you know.
told you one, haven't I, where I come across a couple of people ERPing because they
Ugh.
thought they were on their own near like a waterfall at
So
night.
funny.
It's called Hermit's Hovel. It's in Outer Lenossi at the very top, or Outer Lenosha, whichever way you want to pronounce it. It's right at the top, and I was stood in the bushes around the corner of a house fishing or trying to do something, and I could see people in like text chat talking to each other, and it started getting proper weird.
That is weird. Yeah, we thought they would just
And then like,
DM each other, wouldn't
yeah,
you?
in the end, I just thought, no, I could sit here laughing at this for a while, but I was just like, no, I'm going to just teleport away. Maybe one of them will hear like it makes that noise when someone teleports out, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
If it was me, I
Maybe
would
they'll
have run
hear
up
that and be like,
in the middle of
someone was
them and
here.
gone, hello.
Mm.
Got really embarrassed them then. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, Colin always talked about that one he had, wasn't it? As well, walked in on 2 people actually laying down in a bed or something.
Oh, Modern Warcraft. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. Yeah, so yeah, it's just a funny story, really, isn't it? Okay. Okay, let me talk about some other games that I have dabbled in this week, and I say dabble. Obviously, been playing some more Fall Guys. Absolutely love Fall Guys. I don't think I need to talk about that much more, to be honest. I've been playing it a hell of a lot. Okay, so I've been looking for like just a chill game to play a little bit, just on Game Pass, and I do actually own this on Steam, but I hadn't played it in ages. But I've been playing a little bit, only a couple of hours, just a little game called Stellaris. Have you heard of this game?
I've definitely heard of it.
Yeah, so brief overview. It's a space game, but it's like a management game. So you have where you can choose you know, you start off and you choose, you know, if you're a human or an alien, a reptilian or whatever. You have a home world, and you start off in your solar system, and then you have loads of ships and stuff like that, and you can make more. It's basically like Command and Conquer in space, really. That's the easiest way to talk about it, to be honest, but it's quite a bit more in depth than that. So you can send ships out to survey other systems, you can colonize other planets, you can go to war with alien races. You know, it's a very much a management game. You can like you can mine like asteroids and moons and planets for resources. It's, you know, it's resource management. It's managing your people. There's politics involved. You know, if your planet gets overpopulated, you need to try and populate another planet. You know, there's that political dialogue that can happen between you and the aliens if you want to go to war and stuff like that. You know, expanding into their territory or whatever. That's very much a brief overview of it. I mean, it is a bit more in depth than that, but you know, it's just quite a good little chill game to have in the background when you're doing other things sometimes, just because, you know, if something actually happens, it pauses the game, so when you go back to it, you'll be like, oh yeah, my ship's gone and surveyed the system and something else has happened. So it's, you know, it's quite cool, quite a nice layout really. You can move between all the different solar systems and zoom in and stuff like that, and tell your ships to go to different places and things. So yeah, I've been enjoying that a little bit. It's quite cool. Oh yeah, so got onto the third Dark Pictures game now. So
Which one's that one?
House of Ashes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, I mentioned in the last few weeks that we've replayed the first two games, which really enjoyed playing again, and then went on to House of Ashes because I haven't actually played it on the Xbox. I initially played it on the PlayStation, but I picked it up on the Xbox for some Chivos. So playing through that again. There's four of us playing it, each taking a character each. Some, you know, I think one other person has taken two. I've only taken one because I've played it before. And again, as I mentioned, the last two games, it's just quite interesting seeing the choices that people make. Because there's some quite cool stuff happening in this one. So it's, I mean, just a very brief, not spoilers really. So it starts off with some stuff happening, you know, thousands of years ago, and then you go into modern day, and you're the Americans. You've gone into Iraq, and one of this army bloke comes in. He says, "I've scanned this area. We're looking for WMDs, and it looks like there's tunnels and shit. So you go to this thing, and it's not a stash by any means. It's an ancient kind of temple, and all this crazy weird stuff is happening, and yeah, it's really cool. Just a dynamic between the characters, the stuff that goes on. I really like it because it's one of those. These are the sort of games that anyone can really pick up and play, even if you're not used to using a controller. I mean, some of the nubs of the people that I've been playing with have missed some of the button presses and got people killed from time to time. But for the majority of cases, most people can pick up and play these sort of games, because a lot of it is just watching what's happening, and then you maybe have to move your character around a bit, and it's, you know, pressing the buttons in time or making some decisions with what you say, which may or may not have some consequences later on. So yeah, I really love these games, and obviously I've played. It's made by the people that did oh fucking hell, the game's just gone off my mind now. What was the first one on the PlayStation called? It'll come to me in a minute. But they did The Quarry though. They recently did The Quarry.
Man and Medan.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry. The original one. Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. I don't know why I always forget the name of that game. Yeah, so Until Dawn, which I really loved. Yeah, so actually, after finished, I mean, I haven't finished this yet. We're about quarter way through. Really enjoying it, by the way, as I said. But I watched a little bit of video gameplay of The Quarry, and The Quarry looks fucking awesome, man. So as soon as that's on sale, I'll be picking that up as well. I just think the price tag on that's a bit too high at the moment. It's like £65, which I think is too much, to be honest. I'll wait till it's probably 30 or something. But yeah, these Dark Pictures games I mentioned last week are really, really good, especially to play couch co-op with friends or family. And you know, when they come out, because each game's when they initially came out were about a year apart, say, and they were like £30-40 each, whereas now you can get the whole trilogy all together in one bundle for that price. So I think it's quite good value. You get 3 games for say 40 quid. So yeah, fantastic games, man. Absolutely loving them. And there is going to be a fourth of the Dark Pictures anthology as well. I saw online as well. So it's not just a trilogy; it is an anthology. So they're just going to keep on going until they don't do them anymore. So
All right, I thought it was a trilogy.
no, there is like because I was thinking that, but because the name is called the anthology, I thought I'll have a look online and see if there's another one, and there is another one confirmed for next year. I forget the name of it now. I will have a look in a bit later, but
I
yeah.
think I saw a trailer or something and was taken aback, thinking I thought they'd finished those, and they've literally only just put out The Quarry.
Yeah, they
They're
seem.
already on to another one.
Yeah, the newest Dark Pictures game will take place in a serial killer's mansion. It's called The Devil in Me. There we go, and it's coming out next year. So, yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to that. I'll be getting that as well. So, yeah, good times indeedly do. So, okay, not many to go now. So, this is quite an old. This is a really old game, but I picked it up for my little boy because he's really big into Toy Story at the moment. So, picked up Toy Story 3 for the Xbox 360. But you can buy it on the obviously buy it on the Xbox Series SX or whatever. You know, cost me like £6 or something. It's quite good, but it's way hard, man, for a kid. Like for a kid's game, it's really hard. Like even I've struggled on some sections, to be honest. Like bloody hell, there's a lot of like quite intricate jumping sections, platforming sections in the game, which have been quite difficult, to be honest. But the way it's set out is there's a so the first level's like a train, and it's really fucking hard to get to the end and do that level. So I had to help my boy on that, and then there's like a playboard of the actual movie. So you go to the different areas. There's one called Woody's Roundup, Andy's house, Andy's room, Al's toy barn where you can buy things, and it's just a really odd designed game because there really isn't like it doesn't seem to me like a massive objective to do. It's like, oh, there's all these different little things you can do, go and do them, but just getting around the areas is quite, you know, it's quite intricate, it's quite tough, so you got to really like switching between characters in Andy's room, doing a lot of double jumps onto different things. You know, I thought that this would be a good kids game, but it's not really designed for kids, as I say, because it is pretty tough, to be honest. But even for an Xbox 360 game, like it looks like pretty decent still, like graphically. I think it holds up well because it has that, you know, the art style from the movie. You know, and I still think they look good even now. It's just a shame that the game design isn't up to what I would say a standard that would be easy for kids to play, to be honest, because he's been playing it a bit, but I've ended up having to play more of it than him just to get him to places. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a little bit frustrating, to be honest, that it's not as kid friendly as I would have thought a Toy Story game would be. So going back to Game Pass as well, Darren. my little boy is really into dinosaurs at the moment, so downloaded Jurassic World Evolution 2. It's actually pretty good. Like, I didn't think it would be that good because it's kind of like because my initial thoughts are it would just be a little bit like Zoo Tycoon or whatever, you know what I mean? Just build a park, you know, fence it off and put dinosaurs in the different pens and feed them and all that stuff. And I was thinking, oh, that'd be a bit boring. And there is a mode that you can do that actually, but there is actually a campaign mode as well. So we're only on to the second level of the campaign, and it's quite good because you don't just have that top-down view of managing the parks. It's you take control of like cars and helicopters and things like that, and go out. So you go out in a helicopter for example, and find the dinosaurs out in the world because that's part of the story in the movies. Apparently, they've escaped into the world. And you go and tranquilize them, and then you get them in a helicopter and take them into the park and fence them off. And then you can go in a car and drive around and do the similar thing to tranquilize them, but you also have to set out, like drive around and check on the animals, like the dinosaurs, to make sure they're okay. But as I say, there is that management aspect involved where you need to make sure the pens are big enough, make sure they've got enough water, make sure they're the right kind of climate for the certain dinosaurs, and make sure there's enough power. Sometimes some of the dinosaurs can break through the fences and run wild, and then you have to trank them before they eat the guests in the park. But I'm quite liking the campaign mode because it gives you objectives. You know what I mean? I'm one of those people I need something to aim for in a lot of these games. So the campaign, it's like, right, you're on this level now, and you've got to go and get these certain dinosaurs. Here they are. Sometimes they escape, and some of the voice acting is quite cool with the characters as well. So yeah, it's just quite cool because the graphics are really nice. The controls are really good with the controller as well. They seem really nailed down because like a lot of these sort of management type games like this, they historically have always worked really well with a mouse and keyboard, but never so good with a controller. However, this works well with the controller, to be honest. So, you know, it's enjoyable, and I'm just watching a video at the moment, and I might actually, just looking at this, might give the park a go, of just doing a random park, because it looks like you can manage stuff from like burger shops and things like that, ice cream parlours, and even small things like that, and that might be quite cool. But in the minute, we're only on the second mission of the campaign, and we haven't got that far into building a park big enough to get to that sort of part of it, if that makes sense. But yeah, initial impressions, it's pretty cool little game, to be honest. And the last two games I've briefly played, because I've been playing a lot of Formula 1. Oh, and I played some Gran Turismo with Laffa and Venom this week as well. Just played a little bit of Automobilista 2 because I haven't played it for a while, and it's probably one of the most realistic games, sim racing games that I own, to be honest, and that I quite enjoy. So I literally went in it for about 20 minutes and could hardly control the cars with my steering wheel because I've been so used to F1 2022, which isn't hyper realistic, and turned it off. But still, like graphically, it still looks nice. And I think if you put some time into it, the handling of the cars you can get used to. But I was trying the F1 car out, and it was really difficult because like especially with all the assists of. But you know, it was quite fun. Anyway, here's a game I need to get back into more, but I just don't have the time. And the last game, I played I had about an hour and a half game session on it last night. Hell Let Loose. I know it's been out for quite a while, but I hadn't played it for a while, to be honest. It's a World War II first-person shooter, but it's on a grand scale, for those of you that don't know. And I know this is also out on console. But it has, just a brief overview. It seems like I've been saying that quite a lot this week, but The maps are all very, very large. It's like 100 players per map. Like so 50 a side or 60 a side if it's 120 or whatever. But the maps are all recreated from old footage of what the areas actually looked like in World War Two, which, you know, to give that level of accuracy. And it's basically one big map, and it's, you know, there's different points that you kind of need to capture. So it kind of so both teams move up and down the map to capture points, and then it fills in the map, and then you get to a point where you're fighting to move the map up or down. So whoever captures the most points by the end of the time limit, or captures all the points, is the overall winner of that match. And they do last a long time a lot of the time. And the way it's done is it's set up for a lot of communication. You join a different squad, so you've got your infantry squads, you've got your tank squads and your sniper squads and all that sort of stuff. So there's in-game voice chat, which most people do use, and it's sectioned off into squad chat, squad leader chat, etc. And then you choose a class within that squad, which all have their different perks. So obviously you've got your guy with the lights. So the most common one is the rifleman, who has like the Garand or whatever. Then you've got the dude who has like a Thompson. You got your medic, your MG dude, etc. And it just works really well because the maps are so big. You just have that vast grandness to it, if that makes sense. And you really do need to work together, otherwise you're just going to get picked off. So it is a really enjoyable game. So yeah, I mean, that is literally all I've played this week, to be honest. As I say, most of those games I've not played much of this week, really, but worth talking about because they're pretty decent games, to be honest. So, yeah, good times, baby, good times. Yeah, and I do have some plans with Frosty this week to actually get back into a little bit of PUBG on the PC as well, because I haven't played that in ages, and still a great game, to be honest. So, and I have and actually I do want to mention a game that's been quite popular in the news this week for some reason. It's a game that came out 2 years ago, but I'd never even heard of it until this week. It's called Hypercharged Unboxed. So it's a first-person shooter, which never got any advertising at all, but it's your toys, yeah. So it's a first-person shooter like Call of Duty, but you're these little toys, and it's in some really cool areas like a toy shop, like a back garden, a bedroom, etc. And it just looks like a lot of fun, to be honest. So I might pick it up actually. Like, it just looks like so much fun, and I think the reason it's getting quite a bit of, I don't know, quite a lot of people are talking about it at the moment is because they may have done some updates or something. But I just think it looks really cool, man. I just being a little toy and just having a lot of fun. So you know, yeah. I mean, it's got people just saying it's absolutely stunning. Loads of really good reviews. It's just really weird that like there's loads of people are talking about it now, but it's 2 years old, so they must have been really working on it still, even, you know, after all that time. You know what I mean? Just like those 2 years are just kind of refining it or whatever. Just looks like a cool game, you know. So yeah, that's all my games I wanted to talk about anyway, man. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, let's get into some news then. So, Forspoken has been delayed until January the 24th. I wasn't expecting it to be delayed, to be honest, because when I watched that gameplay video, I can't remember what event it was at, not that long ago, it looked pretty like it'd been, it is almost finished. Were you surprised, Darren?
It was just I mean, it makes sense. They basically did this, announced this minutes after the God of War release date was announced.
When's God of War coming out? It's this year, isn't it? November
the 9th,
right.
I believe.
I'm quite surprised at
Or is it
that because I thought
8th or
it.
9th?
I did think it was going to be delayed, to be honest. But
Mm.
colour me surprised. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean,
so basically they said it's just strategic moving of the release date.
makes sense, man. I mean, you don't want to be up
So the
against God of War
game's
on the
yeah
PlayStation.
they said the game's done and everything. They're just going to use the time for a bit of extra polish and move out of a sort of almost crowded um,
Yeah.
release thing. I mean, you literally had just before it was coming out the Last of Us 1 remake or the Last of Us Part 1
Yeah.
coming out, and then you were having that, and then a bit later on you've got God of War,
Yeah.
on top of obviously the other random games that we're going to be getting tossed in around that sort of time period as well.
Yeah. Because obviously this game is a for Forspoken is a PlayStation exclusive, so they don't want to be in a crowded window of PlayStation releases because obviously that's going to affect their sales big time. So I'm pretty sure it was meant to be coming out on PC on the same date as well, right? So
I think so, yeah.
yeah,
That's why they were like the PC people were like, "Oh, cheers! I don't own a PlayStation, so I don't care about God of War."
yeah.
So we've got to wait. But oh well, I guess.
Oh, it's just one of those things, mate. I suppose, but yeah, I just thought it was quite interesting. Oh yeah, so there is a remake of Lollipop Chainsaw coming out. Did you hear about this? I had no idea.
Yeah, I know about it.
It's coming out in
I've heard rumours for it.
2023.
Yeah.
Confirmed to be coming out in 2023.
Yeah. Unfortunately, neither Suda51 or James Gunn are involved in any way, and I think even the voice actress for
Oh.
Juliet doesn't know what's going on.
Oh. So when did when did it originally come out? It was a bloody long time ago, wasn't it? It was Xbox 360 title, the original, I think. Can't remember.
Um,
But yeah, I mean,
what
I'll
game
be
are we talking about again?
Lollipop Chainsaw.
Oh yeah, sorry, Lollipop Chainsaw. Yeah, 360.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see if it comes back exactly how it was before, because she isn't really wearing very much, and you know what people are like these days. They probably have a fucking protest about her being in a bikini. So we'll see if it comes back exactly how the original did. You
A
know what
lot
I mean?
of people are thinking it's not. There's going to be a lot of stuff missing. I mean, it's not going to have all of the original stuff anyway. There was loads of like unlockable and bonus costumes in the game, like
Right,
referencing various franchises and such
right, okay.
as well. And due to licensing issues, they're probably not going to be around. But I think this game also isn't one of the back compat titles I've heard.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
it
Hmm.
could be one of them.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Oh, and Alan Wake 2. Um. The Sam Lake. Sorry, just something on my words here. Sam Lake has said that the devs have revealed that they've written a ton of pages more than ever for the sequel story, which, in Lake's words, is a monster. So it sounds like Alan Wake 2 is going to be a massive game, which I'm really excited about, to be honest. Loved Alan Wake. I need to finish the remaster, actually. And, yeah, looking forward to number 2. Be awesome. Just to see Barry again.
Hmm.
That's all my news. Have you got any other news, mate?
Oh, there's been random game trailers and stuff, hasn't there?
Has that? I mean, I've not really
That
been
have
in
come
tune
out
this
through the
week,
week.
so
One stunt he'll be well chuffed with.
what's that?
um, they announced a RoboCop game, and
Oh,
everyone was like, kind of, "Oh, this looks really good," and it
what's it
showcases like a
called?
nice. It's just called RoboCop, I think, at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Oh, here we go.
it, yeah, I mean, it looks great. Is it gameplay or just typical sort of trailer? No one knows. Only downside is it's being developed apparently by the people behind the Stunty's favourite game, Rambo.
That's hilarious, dude.
So that's slightly worrying.
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, hopefully it'll be good, man. It's RoboCop, man. You can't go wrong with a bit of RoboCop.
There was another game that was
Sorry, man. I'm just going to go and open my window because I'm fucking boiling. Hang on. Right, the window to the Starship Enterprise is open a bit more now. Carry on. Yeah.
What was we talking about? Sorry.
RoboCop or something?
Oh no, that was it. I was trying to remember the other game in the franchise. There was about 3 or 4 games within the last few days that were sort of shown off, including Skull and Bones.
Oh, okay. Oh yes, Skull and Bones. How did I forget to mention this? I actually watched that gameplay trailer myself. Actually, it's in my history that I've watched it as well. Look, so I don't know what you thought of it, Darren. Actually, what did you think?
Well, it looks nice, like the Ubisoft games always do.
Yeah, but
and I was glad that they've got rid of because originally when the game was shown off, it was a PvE stroke PvP game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Similar to like Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
But now they are actually going to have, servers that are going to be PvE and servers that are going to be PvE stroke PvP.
Very strange.
Bearing in mind that obviously because of that it's going to be always online.
Yeah, and that doesn't bother me. Now, I was watching
Well, this is also in the same week that Ubisoft announced they're shutting down the servers for 10 of their games.
Oh yeah, they're quite old games, aren't they? To be fair,
They are reasonably old, although I did laugh because one of them's Ghost Recon Future Soldier, and someone this week was celebrating like X amount of years since Ghost Recon Future Soldier.
Wow, fucking hell. Yeah, so I mean, I watched the trailer and I didn't know what to make of it really because it felt like, I mean, it looks like Assassin's Creed. Let's just put this out there. It looks like it's an Assassin's Creed engine. You can't get past that, and it just looked interesting. Like you had your main character and he was walking around, going to some shops and things. I couldn't tell if there's actually any on land stuff on this. I couldn't figure that out, or if it's just purely you can only walk on these little areas to get your stuff, and then it's all ship based. I did like the fact that you can team up with other players, ships, and go and do things. But I think for people who play quite a bit of Sea of Thieves or enjoy Sea of Thieves, I think won't like this because Sea of Thieves has its own magic. It's been so well designed and it will just work so well. I don't know. My impression, I mean, I have to play it, but the impression I get from the trailer is it's just not going to be up to that Sea of Thieves standard. However, this has obviously got the more realistic graphics. You seem to have a lot more. Well, this is just my impression, as I say, like more campaignish content, if that makes sense. And I think if you can get in with friends with more than 4 people, that would be good because Sea of Thieves has that restriction, you can only have 4 people in. So I think it looks like an interesting game, but it's because it's Ubisoft. I'm a little bit standoffish, to be honest. They always make their games look really cool in trailers, but then the actual game comes out and it's just a bit average. So as I say, I think I'll definitely give it a go when it comes out because I'll just sign up for a month of Uplay Plus just to give it a go. But I think, because it's going to be a 50 quid game, right? And you don't know if it's going to have any microtransactions or anything like that as well. But It looks beautiful for
There
sure.
is actually a version of it for sale. I've seen that's like about 85, 90 quid, I'm
Oh, for
sure.
fuck's sake. Not
And it
surprised.
doesn't come with the season pass either. It
Wow.
just comes with a couple of naval packs or something.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness.
yeah, they obviously did the sort of like the CG trailer, didn't they? Followed by sort of like gameplay overview and then a combat overview
Yeah. Yeah.
of what's available. And if there was more to it, I would probably be interested, like pretty interested. But the fact that it's all on ship, completely on ship, you don't ever get off your
Oh,
ship
you
unless
don't.
you're in a port or a certain area.
Right.
The even when you destroy a ship and put it on the brink in combat and pull up alongside it to board,
Yeah.
you just you just access a cutscene of you boarding the ship and getting the
Oh,
bit. You
really?
don't do anything. Yeah, so you are literally just a ship while you're out on the sea, and then you just move a person around on land at the
Mm,
player hubs,
right.
basically.
Okay. So this is what I was trying to figure out because obviously with Sea of Thieves, and this is, and of course some people are going to be like, why are you comparing it? I mean, it's the most similar game to it, right? And I know it's got the cartoony graphics, but with Sea of Thieves, you got the total freedom, being on or off your ship. You can go and visit loads of different islands. Your battles are pretty epic with other players and the AI as well, because there's AI ghost ships that you can fight. But you're doing it all yourself, and I think that's what makes Sea of Thieves so special, right? Like, if there's two of you on a little sloop, one of you steering and the other one's manning the cannons, right? And it's all manual aiming, right? Whereas on this, it looks like you've got a crew and you're managing the crew, and you're like, "I'll just go and shoot that ship," and they do all the hard work for you. So it loses its essence. If it's doing that, it feels like it looks like it's a bit of a ship management game in a way, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't think anyone who enjoys. Well, I don't think Sea of Thieves have anything to worry about anyway. That's what I was trying to say. So, yeah. But it looks interesting for sure. I'm going to give it a go. But it was just my impression, man. I just don't think it's going to stand the test of time, to be honest. I mean, you look at how many years Sea of Thieves has been going, and it's just always updated with new content. The player base doesn't really drop. It's got a very sustained population, whereas I can see this being probably dying within a year. That's what happens to Ubisoft games, unfortunately. It's just such a shame, but
Apart
yeah,
from Valhalla, that's still obviously going
yeah,
pretty well.
yeah, yeah. Anything else that I've missed this week, Darren?
Probably quite a few things, but I can't think.
Fair enough. All right, well, I've had a couple of questions. I put the questions out really late because as I say, I've had a busy weekend with the kids and that. I literally didn't do anything for the podcast until about half an hour before we went live, unfortunately. So apologies, but life, man. Okay, so what's my tag asks. Oh, no, before I say that, if you're in the Twitch chat, and I see there's a few of you in there, if you've got any questions, feel free to pump them in. What's my tag says, games you're looking forward to most in July, August. Don't think of any apart from F1 Manager. I mean, what's coming out in July and August? There must be something else. I mean, I'm looking forward to F1 Manager. I think it's going to be a really cool game, to be honest. I'm just going to have a look. Do you know what's coming out in July and August?
Not a great deal, to be perfectly honest. In my thingy, August, I know Soul Hackers 2's coming out.
Okay.
I think they announced the new Valkyrie profile game is getting a release in September.
Right. I'm just having a look through. I just found a website. Capcom Arcade Second Stadium. There's not really anything in July at all, actually, that looks decent. Oh, the Hot Wheels DLC for Forza. That looks quite cool. A game called Endling Extinction is Forever. No, the new Hot Wheels DLC. No, it's not out yet. There's nothing really in July, so meh. August. Arcade Paradise. Yes. So I actually saw a trailer for this during the week actually, and it looks quite cool. So you basically manage your arcade, but you start off, you start off in a like a washer dryer place. So you run a washer dryer business, and then you start off an arcade business. But the cool thing about this is, like, so you design the arcade, and then you can get people in and all that. But you can actually play the arcade games as well, which is quite cool. So I just think it's a really cool way of doing it, to be honest. So that's one game that's on my list. That's coming out in August. But yeah, you start off in a laundromat, as you can see in the tray in the video now. As you start running that, and then you slowly turn it into an arcade. I just think that's quite a cool concept, to be honest. So you can even flush the toilets and pick off the gum. Look, so that looks quite cool. I'm just looking. There's no F1 Manager's out, as we've already mentioned, and there's nothing else I can see that looks decent from my end anyway. No. Sorry, mate. Nothing. I don't think there's really...
Trying to catch up on your backlog. People don't really like chucking games out at this time of the year, which is a shame because you used to be able to get at least one or two publishers that would be like, this could be interesting, and they'll just toss out a random kind of game, and it does really well because there's nothing else out around it.
Yeah, definitely.
Which, as we know, you can be a big issue for games like towards the end of the year. I mean, look at the old Titanfall 2 as a classic example of like, we'll just sandwich it in between Call of Duty and the new Battlefield.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I'm not looking forward to anything else, mate, unfortunately. So hopefully, I mean, I've got such a huge backlog right now anyway, so I'm not really that bothered. But there is a couple of Final Fantasy games coming out this year as well, so I'll be picking those up for sure. I think there's the Crisis Core remasters this year. And there's another one I can't remember now. Anyway, Clarky asks, if you could make your own game, what would it be and why? That's a toughie. It's really weird because I remember when I was a very young boy, maybe about 7 or 8, and I was banging to gaming then. I had an Atari ST, and I remember playing some games on that, and I always remember talking to my friends, being, oh, you know what? If I could make a game, it would be set in a city or something like that, and I could just do whatever I wanted, just go around, drive cars and do whatever. And then obviously Grand Theft Auto happened, so that was always the one game that I wanted to make when I was a kid, and obviously that happened, or at least see. Probably now, I don't know. It's really hard to say now because I love my RPG so much, but I just don't have the time a lot of the time to put in 100 hours into a good RPG these days, unfortunately. And we see a lot of shooters, a lot of racing games. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if the perfect game just isn't there, is there? But the one thing I would like to see is, I would like to make a multiplayer game, be it a shooter or something that actually people all wanted to play at the same fucking time. Because again, it's very difficult in this community sometimes to get everyone together. Even though the online gaming has been getting better recently, really appreciate having the crew, with Venom and Laffer, especially for the Forza Thursdays, which we did do this week, which I forgot to mention. Well, I didn't do it. I jumped on for 5 minutes, and then I've had some issues with my mic, as I mentioned, since I've upgraded to Windows 11, so I can't actually party chat. Use Xbox party chat at the moment, which is really frustrating. So I need to try and sort that out. But we always have good sessions every week on Forza, Gran Turismo, and been having some good sessions on Formula 1 with Frosty, and we do have the Sea of Thieves sessions every now and again as well. So yeah, man, That's all good. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Darren, I mean, is there a perfect game that you would want to make? What would it be the game that you'd make?
Probably just have to go for open world RPG style game, but with just like really awesome, fun combat.
And a good story, of course.
Oh, good story, like full armor customization, weapon customization, just like the sort of almost like the dream game
Yeah.
for that kind of genre. But
See,
or either that or just like an amazing fighting game.
yeah, I mean, I've just been pondering a little bit longer while you've been talking, and I just thought, an epic MMO, I would love to have a.
No, I wouldn't tie it to be an MMO.
No, I'm
I'd
just
make
thinking.
sure it was completely playable offline.
I mean, but from my perspective, I would love to see an epic MMO because I quite like my social gaming. But an MMO that is like the MMO to rule them all. It's just so much fucking fun. There's so much to do, because obviously I love Final Fantasy 14. I think it's a great MMO. It's been my favourite one of all time, but I always hit a wall with that game. I get to a point where I'm just like, I feel like there's nothing that I want to do, if that makes sense. And that's why I kind of just cancel my sub for a while and come back when there's new story content. But I would love an MMO where I feel that there is always stuff to do all the time. Super social as well, really good guilds, really, just super social, loads of cool stuff to do, epic missions that people will want to do together, just all the time, and it's just something I haven't felt for a little while, you know what I mean? So
I mean, that can be good, but then you'll neglect so many other games if you end up with a game like that.
yeah, I know, but if a game was that good, then you wouldn't care. You know what I mean? You'd be like, this is the
True, I
game.
remember being back in the day, there's certain games that you almost feel like you're in a long-term relationship
Yeah,
with.
yeah,
Things like, obviously, like Elder Scrolls titles and
yeah. That's
like
it.
Monster Hunter for me on the PSP,
Yeah,
Monster Hunter Unity and stuff.
yeah,
Just smash it for hundreds and hundreds of
yeah,
hours.
yeah. I just miss having a game where I feel like I want to spend that amount of time with, and I haven't had a game like that for so long, really. Apart from Final Fantasy 14 and maybe Skyrim.
Yeah,
But
I mean, this was the cool thing, like, even thinking back to, obviously, Monster Hunter on the PSP.
yeah,
Because you had to finagle about and do things with, like, passwords and such to get the online aspect of the PSP actually working across
right,
Wi-Fi.
yeah,
It was easier, way easier, just to go off down your mates. To literally take your console down your mates, go and see your mate face to face and sit there both doing like the wireless link
oh, that's
with
cool.
it.
Yeah, that's
And
wicked.
obviously
Yeah,
that pushes the social aspects with the online aspect of like you're co-oping and gaming with someone, but you're actually in the same room chatting to them. You can get some
yeah,
drinks in, some food, all the takeout or whatnot, and just
yeah,
make a good day stroke night
yeah,
of it. Just like hammering games,
yeah,
unlocking stuff, and having a good laugh
yeah,
face
yeah.
to face. That's they still. I don't know whether it still happens as much, but I know like the entertainment district
Oh,
in
okay.
Japan,
Yeah.
they used to have like mass meetups for people linking up playing handheld
That's
gaming
pretty
like
cool.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Like on Sundays, I think it was Sunday
Yeah.
day or night.
Oh, wicked. I mean, I'm
It
not
was like the
really.
social thing to do.
I've never really been massively into handheld gaming. I mean, I do think the Switch and the and the PSP are great systems. Um, but I mean, I love couch co-op games on the TV. I just love that big screen experience. I always have fond memories of that on the N64, especially back in the day, Mario Kart and GoldenEye. And then obviously, as I got older, that essence had been lost until I've had my kids. And so my oldest is 4, and he's at the age where he can work a controller. So kind of rekindling that feeling with him now. We play some games together on the TV. Recently it's been Worms, WMD. Remember that? I love that he loves the Worms game, so we have a good fun on that. playing Switch Sports together. You know, those games are really cool, and a few others. Obviously, he's not quite old enough for like shoot 'em ups or anything like that, but you know, some of those co-op experiences with him are really cool. And obviously, as I mentioned, the Dark Pictures games, I've been having the couch co-op sessions on that as well. So those games are still out there, but I think a lot of people aren't in that position to have that experiences when they're older, because a lot of people, their partners don't game, and if they don't have kids, or if they're living on their own or whatever, you kind of miss that, right? So online is all they have. So yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to get at, but it's just nice that you have some fond memories of doing that on your PSP, you know.
Oh, definitely. I used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like me and a few other mates just take it down somewhere else and absolutely hammer certain games.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. I mean, me and my mate Dave, we used to even if like I used to go around his house, and he'd have his N64 set up, and you know, we'd do the cop and stuff like that. But I had a PS2, and it was really cool back then because he had the 64, I had the PS2, and I'd always bring my PS2 and all my games round his house. So like, and we'd have two TVs set up next to each other. So he'd be playing his game, I'd be playing my game. We'd be talking about each other's games as we're playing our own games. And then it would be like, you know, if he had games that I didn't have, and vice versa, we'd be like, right, I'm gonna have a go on your Nintendo. I'm gonna, you know, and he's gonna play my PlayStation, and you know, we've got some good fond memories of that as well. I remember one of my fondest ones is, I remember I got Metal Gear Solid, and such an epic game. I went round his house, and hadn't played it before. Literally I got the game, took the game in the PlayStation around his house, and he just sat next to me, just chatting, whilst I, you know, played from start to finish of Metal Gear Solid in one night. We just played it in one sitting, just went straight through it. It was fucking
Do you know
epic.
what's frustrating? Yeah, what was actually frustrating for me in a little way, and probably a few other people, is like, you'd always have that mate whose house most people would go round.
Yeah.
So it was, at one point we joked that it was kind of like a club, because you'd never know who'd be there when you pop down, because it'd generally be like not just him but other people as well.
Yeah.
And occasionally you'd sit there and he'd just be playing something, and I get it, because he'd probably be like, well, you decided to come around here, so I'm just playing what I want to play.
Yeah.
You either watch what I'm playing or you fuck off.
Yeah.
He never said that.
Yeah.
But you could imagine him thinking that. But he used to love playing like football manager games.
Oh my god, boring.
So for most of us coming there, like watching what he was playing, it's like,
yeah.
like, not because it's horrible, it's just that it's not entertaining to watch, because it's just literally stats and numbers, and it was the one where you just see little balls and markers moving around the pitch, going up and down the screen.
Oh man, how boring.
Kind of thing, yeah. No, the good nights were when things like Micro Machines came out with the adapter and stuff, and we'd all jump on turbo turns and start screaming and waking his mother up at like 2 in the morning.
Oh, I loved Micro Machines. I mean, it was such a good cartridge on the Mega Drive, because it had controller ports in the cartridge.
That's it, yeah, in the cartridge. Yeah.
Oh my god, what an idea! Yeah. Oh, so good. What a game. I can't believe they haven't redone a Micro Machines type game for the modern systems. I really don't believe that, you know. That was so much fun.
They did them on the 360, didn't they?
I'm guessing it didn't do very well then. I can't remember. Oh,
I'm not too sure. Maybe it doesn't obviously have the same appeal of, because certain games you don't play them for that long.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Back then you used to, because there'd generally either be that many of you in a room and you're all drinking and having a laugh, so you all sit G'ing everyone on, and like rivalries turn up.
Yeah.
And like whatnot, and people might be waiting for, come on, one of you bastards has got to be out. Because I think we used to do it where there'd be so many of us at times where it'd be like the last 2 people in the championship with the races drop out, and then the other 2 take over.
Oh, okay.
Waiting.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet.
Good times.
Yeah, man. Good times indeed. That's all the questions, my dude. I think that's going to be the end of this week's episode.
It's reasonably short, although it's still
Hour
over
and
an hour and a half.
Yeah. Not bad indeed.
There's probably someone going, what about the news story?
Mate,
can't really recall.
It's summer. It's been blistering hot. I'm not going to be sitting on my computer for, looking up news and playing loads of games when the weather's as good as this. You know what I mean? We don't get it that often. I've got 2 kids that need entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. So, yeah, the kids would obviously be going lunatic, and
yeah, as I mentioned at the beginning,
it's too hot to go.
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning, I've had the paddling pool out all weekend. Been in the garden. They've been in the garden. Yeah. So it's just how it is, man. It's how it is, isn't it? So, yeah, cool. All right. Well, I think, unless anyone pops in a question on Twitch, I think that's going to be it for this evening, guys. So, yeah, I mean, thank you everyone on Twitch for joining us. It's been super duper awesome. If you are listening and are not listening live on Twitch, why not? Every Sunday, 8:30 p.m, we are here on Twitch at twitch.tv/Webby360G. And if you want to join the Patreon for an episode every single week of the year on a podcast feed, then feel free to join at patreon.com/360gamercast from as little as £5 a month. You lucky devils, you. So yeah, so for me, Mark Webb, gamertag, Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby360G.
And not so sweaty Switch now.
So thank you very much. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you next week. Same place, same time. Goodbye.